Alright, y'all, I'm Lycan, and this is the Lycan Report. Before we get into the review, make sure you like, share, and also subscribe to the channel, because the reviews are going to keep coming, and you want to make sure that you catch these reviews. Is because whether it's old movies, new movies, old TV shows, or new TV shows, you want to know what's going on and want to be also able to have some insight of what you're looking at. So the review going on for today is The School for Good and Evil, a brand new original Netflix movie that just came out. And honestly, there are too many cast members to really to talk about within this movie. The two major ones that I want to focus this on is Agatha, played by Sophia Wiley, and Sophie, who's played by Sophia Caruso. Now, these two young ladies, they start off the movie, between both of them being antagonized by everybody in their village and so forth. They become best friends. And next thing you know, they get transported to a school. This particular school is like cut in half. You've got one side, the school for good, and the other side, the school for evil. Now, when it comes to these two ladies, they feel like a big mistake has been made upon their behalf, and basically they have to adapt to not only their situation but to learn about themselves, so that way whatever their story is bound to be throughout this movie, they play their parts and hopefully save the day in the end. Now, starting off, I want to say that the cast members are actually pretty good. We've got some headline cast of old and new actors and actresses, and I want to say everyone did a fairly good job. Sometimes it seems, depending on whether they're good or evil, they're kind of, I want to say, caught up in themselves, is because of the fact that they're supposed to overdo it depending on which school you're talking about. But relatively, all the acting was actually quite fairly well. Nobody was actually distant in their stuff. Everything connected from that standpoint. When it comes to the graphics and the special effects, I want to say special effect wise, everything was quite decent. Granted, some people would say this is on the boundary lines of a B movie, but it also kind of touched in areas of an A movie, because of the fact that how everything blended in together. It kind of gave you the feel of like, Harry Potter and so forth. And once again, it ties into the story and brings everything together and makes you actually keep interested, because this is almost a 3-hour movie, and literally it draws you in and it keeps you there and it wants you to be part of the story, which I love movies like this. When it comes to the plot, as I said, both of these characters, Agatha and Sophie, they feel like a big mistake is made, and they have to play their roles. It's kind of strange, is because one is in the school of evil, the other is in the school of good, and they both feel like they do not belong in their schools. But as the story goes on and so forth, you start seeing some things like, hey, good can do evil deeds and bad can do good deeds. And, through the mixing of each other on certain occasions and so forth, you see that, hey, it really depends on someone's true nature, whether it's the exterior of them that actually label what they really are. The twist of the story, it hits, and you can't believe, what ends up happening, and it draws you in even further, is because you're trying to figure out, hey, how is this going to end, because it keeps building in climax. I mean, more than half of the movie, you're being built up, and just like any type of fairy tale type of deal, the build up gets to a point, and then you're expecting a drop to happen, and the drop that actually happens, that shows you what the twist was all about, it's actually confusing. It's confusing in a good way, because once again, as I said, this whole movie draws you into it and makes you want to be in the story. And honestly, I can say people are going to love this movie for a long time. Would I watch this movie again? Yes, I would. hopefully by what they've set up towards the end of the movie, hopefully we get a second movie out of this. Would I watch this movie again? Yes, I would. Would I watch it with family? Yes, I would. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a family movie, but it's one of those movies where you can share with the family, you can watch it individually. I figure that eventually, people are going to do just like, like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and The Matrix and so forth. You're going to have its own following behind it and so forth, which is even greater is because of the fact that fans can really, feel a connection whether you're about the school of good or the school of evil. It doesn't matter. It is how they interact and how everything works out in the end. On a scale of 1 to 5, I want to give this a 4.7. And the reason why I want to give this a 4.7 is because there's a level of area where it seems a little naive on the taking of which side is either better or which side is truly dedicated to what the side is actually about, which is a little confusing. The twist of the story is, I'm not going to say dramatic, but it does raise questions on, hey, what is true good, what is true evil, and at the same time, love interest. When it comes to fairy tales, we always talk about, true love or love's first kiss and so forth, and it gives another twist to that as well, which people were not going to expect when they see this movie. So as I said, at 5, I give this a 4.7 because this was actually pretty good work put together. And as I said before, hey, I hope they come up with a secondary movie to this, is because I was thoroughly enjoying it. And I have to admit, the actors, the actresses, the graphics, the plot of story, once again, it's a good story, good movie to watch, and I hope that, hey, there's a future for this. So until next time, this is Lycan on the Lycan Report.